On your right, you might catch a glimpse of the steel structure that keeps our backlot standing. All of these facades have been built with Florida weather in mind. They can withstand hurricane-force winds of up to 100 miles per hour. That's phenomenal, considering they're made out of plywood, fiberglass, and styrofoam. They have a thin layer of concrete on the outside for texture, but there's not a single brick in this building. Take a look to your right. You'll see the Washington Square Arch and the skyline of New York right here in Central Florida. Although that's actually an old Hollywood trick called forced perspective, the buildings are just painted flats placed at the end of the street. They give it the illusion of depth. Where the real Empire State Building stands over 100 stories tall, our version stands at a very impressive 4 stories. Folks are now approaching the end of the tour. Please remain seated until the shuttle comes to a complete stop and take a look around to make sure you have all your personal belongings. Once we stop and the doors open, you'll exit towards the front of the shuttle through these sliding glass doors. That's the American Film Institute showcase. The current exhibit is called Villains, movie characters you love to hate. It's a tribute to some of the greatest movie villains of all.
I only hope that you never find one thing when you all start to buy money.
The Penny Arcade. Yeah, 1901. This is Brother Roy.
Yeah, I know who Roy.
Roy.
Different elements of the scene were separated according to the various distances from the view. With our original picture broken down in this manner, it is possible to control the relative speed with which each individual part is far away from the camera. And here now is our same moonlight scene, the way the multiplane camera sees When the doors in front of you open, please step into the next chapter of the remarkable life of Walt Disney. We call it the multiplane camera.
Good idea.
We have a heart just turning. Each week, as you enter this timeless land, one of these many worlds will open to you. Frontierland. Tall tales and true from the legendary past. Tomorrowland. Promise of things to come. In 5 minutes, we'll begin the next showing of One Man's Dream. Fantasyland.
Oh.
Happy is the kingdom of the Lord.
It's a pretty humble looking office.
Walt Disney's
It says it's a pretty humble office. It's Disneyland. This is Adventureland and Disneyland. What is that?
That's cool.
Yeah, it was closed down 2 years ago.
Epcot will take its cue from the new ideas and new technologies that are now emerging from the creative centers of American industry. It will be a community of tomorrow that will never be complete, but will always be introducing, testing, and demonstrating new materials and new systems. And Epcot will always be a showcase to the world for the ingenuity and imagination of American free enterprise. It's a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity for everyone to participate. Speaking for myself and the tired in the orchestration. We're ready to go
Oh, no,
right.
toys. How clever. There you go. I wait till
From
we
his
start.
death in December of 1966, Walt Disney was very deeply involved in planning the
It's Paris. So cool.
We're gonna go in a few years. My mom said she'd fly us out. Alright. Is the tree of life? Oh, tape's running out.
That's the heart of everything we'll be doing in Disney World will be our experimental we call it Epcot. Now,
Reminder, there will be no videotaping or
And one of his greatest dreamers was Walt Disney. Walt believed that any height could be scaled if you knew the secret of making dreams come true. He certainly knew that secret. He touched the hearts of millions of people around the world. The story of Walt's life is truly an amazing one, and no one can tell it better than Walt himself.
my dad worked as a carpenter in the World's Fair buildings. He eventually ended up in Chicago as a contractor. And he was doing that when I was born, December 5th, 1901. But my dad made some money as a contractor, and he wanted to get back to the farm. They finally ended up buying this farm in Marceline, Missouri. It was a beautiful farm, but it was not the kind of farm to make a living on. Things got pretty tough on the farm, and my dad had a sickness. So my dad sold the farm, took the money, and went to Kansas City. And my dad bought this Kansas City Star route. And they gave me a route. I was about 9 or 10 when I started that. Winter, we'd go out at 3:30 in the morning right after a blizzard, or in a blizzard, or in pouring rain. It didn't matter. I did that for 6 years. It was tough.
It seems like everywhere Walt's father turned, he found failure. And the constant struggle took its toll on the family. One by one, the children began to leave home. Then one day, Walt woke up to find his best friend, his brother Roy, had gone as well.
My brother had joined the Navy, so I wanted to join it. Well, I was still a year too young. I was 16. Finally, this kid came in to me very excited. He said, "There's something just for me here that you and I can get in." I said, "What is it?" He said, "An ambulance unit." I was in Paris, 3rd of September, when Pershing pulled out. Paris, which had been this exciting thing with all these soldiers and things, suddenly there wasn't a soldier to be seen. And I suddenly became very lonesome. So then I went in and put a request in to be discharged. So I hit Chicago. That's where my parents were living. And I said, "Dad, I want to be an artist." And my dad, he just couldn't buy that. So I pulled stakes and moved to Kansas City. Roy was in Kansas City working at a bank. one of the fellows working with Roy said, say, I have a couple of friends that have an art shop. And I went up with these samples, and there were all these corny things I'd done in France. Well, my gosh, they hired me. I mean, right on the spot. So I took the camera home, and then I started experimenting on my own there. So then I went into this Kansas City Film Ad Company. So that was where I got started in the animation business. So I was thinking if I had something with a novel twist, I might crack the market. But I still couldn't get anywhere with it. I failed. I learned a lot out of that. And I think it's important to have a good, hard failure when you're young.
I packed all my worldly goods in a cardboard suitcase. I went to Hollywood, arriving there with just $40 in my pocket from my Kansas City ventures. Now, my brother Roy was already in Los Angeles. Both of us were unemployed. We solved the problem by going into business for ourselves. We established the first animated cartoon studio in Hollywood.
Walt's dream was finally coming true. He had his first commercial success. Oswald, the Lucky Rabbit. And Walt himself was lucky enough to marry the girl of his dreams, Lillian, a pretty ink and paint girl who worked at his studio. But then he was dealt a tough blow. On a trip to New York City, he learned that through a contract loophole, he had lost ownership of Oswald. And to make matters worse, the distributor had maliciously signed away all of Walt's artists. Devastated, he headed back home to California. But something happened along the way that would change his world forever.
Mickey Mouse came into our life.
He popped out of my mind onto a drawing pad on a train ride from Manhattan to Hollywood at a time when the business fortunes of my brother Roy and myself were at lowest ebb and disaster seemed right around the corner. His first actual screen appearance was at the Old Colony Theater in New York in Steamboat Willie. He was the first cartoon character to stress personality, and I thought of him from the first as a distinct individual. I did the voice. Hang on, pal, here we go. Mickey was simply a little personality assigned to the purposes of laughter. Mickey fitted the need exactly. He brought in the money which saved the day. He enabled us to explore our medium, and he paved the way for our more elaborate screen ventures.
By nature, I'm an experimenter, so I had another idea which was plaguing my brain. It was the Silly Symphonies. It was a series without a central character.
Every one of them was a new type of subject to give us something to reach out and accomplish something different. Then we started distributing both Mickey Mouse and the Silly Symphonies. It was nip and tuck, getting them out.
Walt began to push himself and his artists. He worked day and night, and when he wasn't working, he was worrying about the future. Then the inevitable happened. In 1931, he suffered what he called a heck of a breakdown. So he took Lillian on the first vacation they had ever had. By the time he got back, he was a new man and ready to get back to work.
I saw the handwriting on the wall there because the short subject was just a filler on any program. Now, if I could crack the feature field, then I could do things. I had done a little story research on different fairy tales I might do, and Snow White was one of them. I thought it was a perfect story. I had the heavy.
It's a magic wishing apple. Now, make a wish.
I had the prince and the girl, the romance. I had the sympathetic dwarfs and things. You We started Snow White sometime late 35, and it was around 2 years in the making. We had the family fortune, we had everything wrapped up in Snow White. In fact, the banker, I think, was losing more sleep than I was. We had a big premiere, the Carthay Circle Theater, big, grand Hollywood premiere. All of Hollywood brass turned out for a cartoon.
The daddy of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs is going to be presented this beautiful statue. Isn't it bright and shiny?
Oh, it's beautiful.
Aren't you proud of it, Mr. Disney?
Why, I'm so proud I think I'll bust.
With the profits of Snow White, I built